Okay, it's GUYANA Free Media. Your friend, your brother, me, HAJI, Dr. ROSHAN, Canada. And today is Friday, July the 26th. VP Jagdeo challenges AFC to come forward with its National Development Plan, accuses the party of using PPPC as a cover for its own ineptitude. Well, now they got quite a proper lawyer, a reasonable good lawyer who could always find good excuses to win cases by finding some legal way to sneak out. Not no heavy criminal case in battle in court, but the man has a way of getting hardcore criminal, people who have murdered and caused death in many ways, dangerous driving and murder or whatever. He will find a way that the charge was wrong. I got to give compliment to the man for that. Now, at least he's a proper lawyer compared to some others who were or are in politics, in the party, even their party. Now, this is the article, and yours truly wants to make a comment. Vice President Jagdeo challenges the AFC. Well, we know, ladies and gentlemen, in my take, I must state that the People's National Congress was the main opposition, and the AFC was a part of the opposition with a number of seats they had acquired. Most of us by tricking and fooling the people in the upper quarantine, Berbice area, through Moses Nagamutu and Ram Jatan. Ram Jatan, I'll give him Mr., along with Moses Nagamutu, did the most horrendous thing to you, the people of Guyana. Two things that I, HAJI, Dr. ROSHAN, and you, the people, should never find possibly to forgive. Because the misery and all the headaches and even problems with the police and problems with transportation and setting up toll systems, and for you, the people, for your bottom line, for your pocket, if they had not joined with the PNC, in which was a kind of an engagement taking place for the major marriage between them. So I just want to draw this to your attention. It was a kind of an engagement, ceremony and courting. And in that, Ram Jatan voted for the AFC with the PNCR to defund hydro. I've spoken about this many, many times, friends and family, ladies and gentlemen. I've spoken many, many, many times. And I will never be tired of speaking on it. Because we are suffering in this country. And as I said, you can't set up a proper toll system by electronics. We can't set up, the police cannot have automated, internationally linked fingerprinting system. And so on. So within seconds, they would know a fingerprinting matches who in the world or in the country. They have to go through that old mundane. If they had proper electricity, that would not have happened. The people of this country would have been paying 50% or less, ladies and gentlemen, if we had hydro. So Ram Jatan, AFC, I call you out. Trotman, Mr. Attorney at Law, I call you out. My very good friend, I like her a lot. Cathy Hughes, you were playing your mere politics. You're beautiful and I love you. Cathy Hughes, blessings. Good soul, you know. Cathy Hughes has a good soul, but the political bug bites her. Like the political bug bit, and maybe still bite her calmly, Miss Lawrence of the People's National Congress, a die-hard, and then they kicked her out of the PNC and embarrassed that great, magnificent woman. So, we are suffering today for that. And two, why I can never forgive the AFC, and you the people in the quarantine, and you the people in the country, listen to what I'm saying. In the wrong. When the people know that the sugar estates were being closed, and total destruction and marginalization was about to take place in the quarantine and upper quarantine, was overnight they closed the places. Nothing in place to help the people to form cooperatives or lands provided. Brigadier Ranger, the then president, coming to the end when they know they would lose the election. Oh, we will give you lands to do your farming or to form your co-ops. Too little, too late, Excellency, former President Ranger, Brigadier. And Nagamutu, friends and family, and Ramjatan, they know, but they never told anybody. So next day, people were on the bread line, people committed suicide. Women, many of them had to turn to illegal way of surviving. Some agreed that they had to sell their bodies. You, Ramjatan, you, the AFC, you are the cause of all of this. Are you the cause that we don't have hydro? Are you trying to sabotage everything? And you, Ramjatan, Mr. Nagamutu, when we were about to get the Red Plus funding from Norway for us storing the carbon dioxide and the waste gas in our jungles, you contacted them not to facilitate the government. You, Ramjatan, the AFC. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what I'm saying to you. This is number 3. So I'm giving you only 3 areas in which the AFC must not be trusted with any form of vote. AFC must not be trusted to even sit in Parliament. But we know some people will go here and there. And they're going through the country in the market square, and you almost put them in their places. Tell them they're going now to the churches. They will go to the mandirs and we're in the quarantine. Let the go in the quarantine and the mandir and tell them why they closed down the sugar estates. And let the people deal with them appropriately. Verbally, of course. Friends and families, your brother, me, HAJI, Dr. ROSHAN, Kaninda. And now, friends and family, brothers and sisters, send this message around the country to all your friends and family, all around the world. Remember, remember, the AFC, remember. Rub it in your skulls, people. Rub it in your skulls. In response to calls by the Alliance for Change, AFC leader Nigel Hughes, for the political parties to come up with a national bipartisan development plan, Vice President Jagdeo has urged the AFC to come forward with its own plan. Bharat, boy. That's the man, Bharat. Bharat. By name and nature, Bharat, the instinct and the development of the power in the DNA, and the language and the experience and politics flows in his blood. Come forward with your own plan. Why are you trying to pick people's brains? Why are you trying to go to churches and temples and trying to pull wool over people's eyes? I'm educating the people here. And I will be sending in small snippets of messages on a regular basis to warn the people, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, about the AFC and what it did to this country. Unforgivable. Unforgivable. They wrote, imagine Ramjatan wrote the Norway government not to pay our government at that time, the PPPC or the Jagdeo, for the Red Plus fund of the Norway, by Norway, for our Aboriginal people, for the development of this country and for the growth of Guyana, for solar energy and so on. The money will go. But they didn't want that. They wanted us to have national crisis. The AFC, ladies and gentlemen. Enter. Raw. The call by Hughes comes at a time when the People's Progressive Party administration has several such plans, but in the open. So what they will do, when they come up with their own, they will start to copy a lot of that and change the words. Some lawyers do that, and so they got like 2 or 3 lawyers in there, and they will try to copy and pull wool over your eyes. Be on the lookout, and don't worry, HAJI Dr. ROSHAN Kaninda is here to educate you. During the weekly press briefing, Jagdeo, who also serves as the General Secretary of the PPPC, made it clear that his party has no interest in being used as a cover for the AFC's inability to come up with a national development for its own. So what they wanted was a national development plan, ladies and gentlemen, was sitting with everybody else, and that they think that Bharat Jagdeo will sit with them so that they can get some positives and some ideas and some wisdom, and then make it look it was their initiative. In the raw. Let me hear you, ladies and gentlemen. In the raw. Let me hear you side.
In the raw.
Good boy. Guy coming up, you know. The boy is coming up. Jagdeo was of the view that after being in existence for 15 years and in government for 5, the AFC ought to have a plan in place for key sectors of the economy. But while the PPPC has published several of its own plans, the AFC is yet to do so. So they will steal ideas, they will come up with kinds of things. You should talk about your plan first if you are coming to the table. You either say, I am adopting the PPP plan. Ha! Yes! That's my man, Bharat Jagdeo. You can admit, because that's what you want to do. So if he sits with you all, you can say, okay, this, and then some of you will come in with some lukewarm, nonsensical trash. Or I believe the PPP has a plan and let's improve it. He's even going with that. But don't come pretending that you bring any great intellectual bearing to the issue. Bharat Jagdeo. I go on. Hughes wants someone to do the work for him because he's incapable. His party is incapable. Well, I must let you know, I don't have a personal beef with Nigel Hughes. At all. As a matter of fact, I like the guy, and I admire the way he wins cases by coming up with some jargon to pull wool over the magistrate and the judge's eye that the charges were wrong. The man is good in that. I got to give credit to the man for that. Not that they don't have opportunities to, but they are intellectually incapable, the Vice President said. Jagdeo assured that the PPPC has a national development plan of its own. This plan, according to the Vice President, is concrete and covers several areas. Jagdeo reminded that the PPP has released its plan on several occasions, inclusive of the Poverty Reduction Strategy, 2000, the National Competitive Strategy, 2006, and the 2 Low Carbon Development Strategies, LCDS. You can't beat that, Nigel. You can't beat that, Ramjatan. You can't beat that. He further pointed out that the ongoing works to improve the health, energy, transportation, and other sectors show evidence of the plans which exist for these sectors. Further, he stated that the plans of his party go beyond the electoral term. We are the only political party that has a laid out plan that goes beyond election cycles. That is, even when you have election, you have a 5-year period, plans that go beyond that. And we have seen many cases, like when the PNCR and the AFC took power, as APNU, how they tried to demolish certain things, like right away, they took away you. And that's why I can't, this is number 4 now, ladies and gentlemen. They took away Ramjatan, the AFC, took away the $10,000 we care cash grant to the poorest sector of this people, and to all the peoples of this country, and to all the children. And when the PPPC got back into power, ladies and gentlemen, friends and families in the raw, what they did, they raised it immediately to 30,000. And included the private schools. What did the PNC do in 2015? They put VAT on books. They put VAT on private education. I, first time in my life, took the platform and was successful to break it. But they won't give me my credit. But I took the action. First time on the road, if Zaid was with me, he would have been holding a placard with me. Because it was wrong. So that is you, Ramjatan, AFC. Well, you were neither here nor there at that time, Nigel. You were in and out, you were resigning, you were coming back, and so on. So you... Hughes wants a cover for the intellectual bankruptcy of that party. and have nothing to offer. Let them talk about what he has to offer in detail. Oh, not oh, we have a draft, a plan together, the VP added. Come up with yours, Nigel, Ramjadan. But Ramjadan doesn't have any authority in there. They might put him to sit as an executive little boy. But the poor guy, nobody nominated him. He was a co-founder with Trotman, but nobody nominated him. He's nothing. The best thing he could do is go concentrate on his career, and possibly whatever arrangements is made. You know, we do know also many people during his term got firearm licenses. That was totally amazing. One security agency, it is said and alleged, got 37 weapons instantaneously by a minister's signature during the 2015 era of the PNC, the APNU, IDA, RAW. Last week, Hughes, who was recently elected to the leadership of DFC, had called on President Dr. Irfan Ali and PPC to convene a meeting on various political parties and technical experts to come up with a multi-year development plan in at least 5 areas: the economy, education, foreign affairs, health, and poverty rate reduction. Mr. Hughes, the Jagdeo government then, when he was in power, and the Irfan Ali government now has done that. I think that responsible way forward, and I want to repeat, the Alliance for Change has called to the President to convene such a meeting of all the parties and all the expatriate technical skills so we can have the 10 to 15-year plan in education, economy. But I tell you what, when they took power and they were secretly dealing with this matter, and I called upon them, I openly called upon the President, then Granger, invite the opposition, because they are a powerhouse, to work with you on the oil and gas issues. You didn't even think of mentioning anything, but now you want to do these things? APNU, AFC, Norton, and Nigel Hughes, now you want to do these things? When I and many others were calling for this idea to start it then, you want to start it now? So you can possibly sabotage the government? And try to say, we came up with that and we came up with this? Doesn't sound too smart for me. I'm no politician. I'm just an ordinary commentator and a small-time businessman. I'm just a humble servant of the people, symbolically in love with Guyana and the universe and the air of Guyana. Everything else we can complete in the national elections, but let us sign off on a long-term plan in these 5 areas, and I hope the President listens to this. This is Nigel Hughes' missive, and doesn't have to consult with us, but with other persons, and we can arrive at a plan. Everything signs off, the attorney at law had added. So, funny, how lawyer play with words. You can consult, not necessarily us, but then he goes on to say, and we can arrive, we, including him and his party. You have to have a certain intellectual prowess, ladies and gentlemen, to see through the words of lawyers. And sometimes judges, to my opinion, and magistrates are fooled by these guys. And some of them have a charisma. Another great lawyer that had charisma was Rex McKay. When he walked in with his size and his body, some judges and so on would tremble. Some magistrates would tremble. Not all, but some. Now I move on. When Hughes made that pitch for President Ali to convene meetings that would include national stakeholders and opposition parties to come up with a national development plan, such a consultative approach is nothing new to successive PPPC governments. So he's coming up with an idea, but the PPPC has been doing this on a constant basis. And I move on. Under the presidency of Dr. Cherry Jagan, 1992 to 1997, the National Development Strategy was introduced. Meanwhile, under the presidency of Jagdeo, I know that name sent shivers among some of the people in the opposition, especially to Norton and Ramjadan. Jagdeo, 1999-2011, 3 such strategies: the poverty reduction Strategy 2000, the National Competitiveness Strategy 2006, and the Low Carbon Development Strategy 2009 were developed. And that is where the low carbon, and when Ramjatan et al. In his group tried to stop the Norway government from funding us, paying us to use our forests. Ladies and gentlemen, you must remember this. Question them. Put them in the hot seat when they come to you in the mandirs and the churches and the mosques and in your market square and so on. Put them in their place. Under the current president, an updated low carbon development strategy that will cover the areas 2022 to 2030 was achieved and applauded by the world, by the United Nations. Guyana is recognized as a mecca, as a beacon of low carbon development and low carbon strategy. Your friend, your brother, me, HAJI, Dr. ROSHAN Karinda, say thank you. Farewell.